NBC4's Lolita Lopez is also near the facility in East LA.
So, Lolita, we do know that deputies who were in that area felt that explosion at 7:27 this morning, and they self-responded. How did the neighbors that you're coming in contact with describe what they felt?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been sort of around this area. This is a huge complex that also incorporates county fire, the 911 system here. So the neighbors here see this facility and all the officers and law enforcement and folks that come through here as part of their neighbors on a daily basis. For the most part, we've kind of driven around. There's an elementary school just up the way. We are on Eastern Avenue and Lotta Drive. But you heard Lauren say that the sheriff is speaking with family members, and it is our understanding that right here where we are at this entrance, this is where family members and other folks who are related to those injured and unfortunately those killed are coming in this way to have any type of communication with either investigators or the sheriff department here. But as I said, right across from where I'm standing, home after home after home in the City Terrace, East LA area. And we spoke with one gentleman who says at 7:30 he was awake with his wife and children. They were taking him to school. And this is what Richard Montoya says he heard. Take a listen.
You know, we have two kids that we get off the day camp around that time, so it was a little disconcerting. I just didn't. We do a lot of fireworks in this neighborhood. This is East LA after all. Yeah. And I thought, geez, is someone's garage blow up or, you know, what happened? But there was just a depthness to that. There was a depth to that explosion that just gave the indication something was very wrong.
Yeah, and he said that it actually happened in 3 different stages, almost like one big explosion, but then there was a rollout to it. The windows of his home shook. There was a rattle, like a low grade, a 1 or 2 earthquake. So definitely something that was felt by some of the neighbors here. Other folks who say that they walk around here, we know we caught up with folks who walk around this neighborhood. There are different entrances to this. Sheriff's deputies have closed off every single entrance to that location as this investigation is going on. And for them, it was one of those situations. They're really shocked to hear what happened. Take a listen to that.
It's been there for years, all my life. You know, nothing like this has ever happened.
A pretty quiet zone for as long as I can remember. Like, we have no issue like hanging out right here across the street, or that's just very unfortunate. You know, out of put into, especially in the line of fire and things like that, and other things that are happening in the area over the last couple of months. You would wish something like this wouldn't happen on just a training facility or.
And you can hear from our interviews there that the helicopter was going and patrolling in and around the area as we were speaking to them just soon after that explosion happened this morning around 7:30. One of those residents lived there 57 years. The other resident more than 20 years. And in that time, they say they have never heard or experienced anything quite like what happened here today. So we'll continue to talk to folks as we follow who's coming up and down this way. We believe that family members affected by what happened in this situation are coming through here to speak with investigators and the sheriff. For now, that's the very latest outside the facility. Lolita Lopez, NBC4 News. Back to you in the studio.
Lolita, I do have a question. How far away are the homes from this training facility, just to give us a little bit more context?
We're talking like a block or 2 away from where I'm standing here at this entrance, which you see back here. I'll talk to you in sort of sports terms, about 50 to 100 meters away if you're looking at a track. We are just across the street from several homes. And what's interesting is some of these homes are a little higher up, so they sometimes look even directly into the facility. From the ground level that we're here, you can look up and see the towers to the 911. You can see some of the sort of buildings and wall facades from this training facility. It's not very far off. In fact, a lot of neighbors telling us that they just incorporated into their neighborhood. It's like the facility and the folks here that use it every day are part of their neighborhood. From top down, you can feel it more, and it is interesting because a lot of people didn't hear it. It might have been the time of the morning or what was happening. So it was very unique, according to Richard, who did hear it. It was very much in the moment, and I wonder if it resonated because he does live at the top of the hill up a little bit and kind of traveled with sound. So it's one of those things that, again, it is very much incorporated into the neighborhood here of City Terrace, East LA.
Right, and it also makes you wonder, Lolita, if close to the training facility, if they hear, weapons exercises or any noises, they didn't really know that this was an accident. Maybe they thought this was part of a training exercise.
Well, I will say for the one gentleman or so that did hear stuff, they did feel that it was very different than anything that they've heard before. Exercises happen here quite often. They've heard, units coming in and out. There's also like a training facility that's here. They've heard weapons training here that does happen here. This was very, very different from that. And he said, as soon as I heard it, I knew something was wrong.
Lolita Lopez, thank you for that report.
All right. And our live team coverage continues now with Ted Chen.
So he joins us live now from LA General Hospital in Boyle Heights, where we believe the injured deputy might be being treated there. I know that has not been confirmed, but Ted, that is the closest hospital, right, to the location.
Yes, it is, and we have not been able to confirm that information. We have not seen additional sheriff's personnel arrive here either, but we do know from Julia Deng's reporting this morning from News Chopper 4 that she spotted multiple sheriff's vehicles and personnel arriving and stationing here at LA General Medical Center. They were right outside the entrance where ambulances unload patients, and right now, though in the last hour or so, we've only seen one sheriff's unit in the area of the ER. We did inquire of the hospital about the condition of the injured LASD sergeant that we understand was reportedly taken here. The hospital issued a statement saying, quote, "We are aware of the tragic incident that occurred this morning involving members of the LA County Sheriff's Department. Out of respect for patient privacy and in accordance with HIPAA and California privacy laws, we are unable to share any information regarding individuals who may have been brought to our facility. We extend our deepest condolences to the families and colleagues affected by this devastating event." The hospital right now referring all inquiries and requests for information to the LA County Sheriff's Department. Reporting live from Boyle Heights, Ted Chen, NBC4 News. Back to you in Universal City.
All right, Ted, thank you very much. We appreciate that update.
And joining us on the phone right now is LA County Supervisor Catherine Barker. Supervisor, thank you so much for being with us. We are a community in mourning with the Sheriff's Department. Is there any new information that you can give us this morning?
No, what you're covering is pretty accurate. Obviously, I'm heartbroken by the tragic explosion and the impact that it's had on 3 families who said goodbye to their loved one this morning, never thinking that this would happen. And I express my thanks to LA County Fire as well as our federal partner, the FBI, who secured the scene and provided immediate support. But we are all in mourning, and this is a very, very difficult time, and a reminder of the job that our first responders do, and the fact that this can happen speaks volumes to their commitment and dedication to protecting the lives of the citizens of LA County.
Supervisor Barker, if you can, we understand that it's an all-hands-on-deck situation right now. Are you starting to get a little bit more information, or how soon do you think you'll start getting just bits and pieces as they try to, put this investigation into play here?
Yeah, and I think it's important, as I was just talking to staff, without information, the vacuum is filled with misinformation, and I think it's important for us to get the facts out. Clearly, I think that they put the priority right now on notifying the family and working with the families that have been impacted by this, and I respect that. I think it's important to remember that the 3 individuals who lost their lives have loved ones that may or may not know what is going on, and so I respect the fact that the priority is there, but we need to get the facts forward. Early on, there was a rumor that it might have been a terrorist attack, and that was dispelled quickly. And in fact, it was an accident. But the press conference at 11:45, I believe, today by the sheriff will fill in those blanks. We need to get the facts out there. The investigation's already began. If the FBI is on site, I guarantee you that the investigation's already began, and I do not know what the conclusion will be or even how much they'll be able to provide on that. But it's important for us to be transparent as well in terms of how we conduct the investigation.
Supervisor, I know you have obviously a long history in the city of Los Angeles. Can you give us any perspective about the training center? There have been other instances in the past, other accidents. Any insight that you can give us about what happens at this training center? Because it is such an expansive lot and so close to neighborhoods, also to the freeway, all of that.
Well, first of all, I mean, I know that the training that is provided there is similar to what happens with LA City's bombs. So you have the best of the best as a part of this unit. But let us not forget, accidents happen, and it's important for us to find out what happened. But it doesn't mean that the squad in and of itself did anything wrong. We need to find out those facts. But I always caution with the fact that we are quick to judge and say, why did that happen? But accidents still happen. And this may very well be a tragic accident, but I'm going to wait for the experts to tell us what happened and then what lessons learned so that we can correct that moving forward. So I honestly don't have an answer for that, but I always get frustrated when people assume it may have been lack of training. This bomb squad, mutual aid with LAPD, I would argue the best of the best.
All right, and as you said, Sheriff Robert Luna will be giving us a press conference in less than an hour, so we are awaiting that and hopefully gather some more information, to not,
I agree.
just
I think it's
to
important
stop
for us to get the
everybody
facts
else
out
from
there
this
for the people.
misunderstandings.
Supervisor, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it.